Welcome everyone, this is Live Reactions. Today we are watching live reaction for AMD for their announcement of the Zen 3. Right now we do have a lot of things just streaming through for all the hype. We are a couple of minutes out. It says premieres in 3 minutes, so no pre-video going on right now. We'll see if they launch directly into it or how exactly this presentation goes once they launch that. We're expecting to find out some additional information on performance, where this hits at max gigahertz. A rumor has had it that this is going to hit 5 gigahertz, and right now we're not entirely sure if that's going to be like all core, single core, where exactly that's going to fall, because that makes a big difference in a lot of areas. Now, that does give them a lot of marketing competition against Intel if they do truly hit the 5 gigahertz. Some of the information coming out, though, has said that it's only 4.96, something really close like that, so they may market it as 5 gigahertz, even if it's not truly, or it's possible that it just gets marked at 4.9 and then has that little extra boost up above it, depending upon how the silicon falls. But we would think that they would want to hit that 5 gigahertz mark simply because they are going to want to have that marketing for competition with Intel. They're going to want it so when Intel comes out and promotes theirs that they look just as good, even if they are slightly behind or unable to maintain that height for as long. We don't know exactly where that's going to fall just yet, but we do know that they are planning to come out swinging. This is a big event for them. And then again, later on this month, they are having for their new graphics cards. So we'll find out where that falls in as well. Kind of hoping that maybe we get some hints as to where all that's going to fall. Maybe they just tease us with a little bit of information. We're not entirely sure what we're going to get just yet. But that's the plan here, is to watch through this, see if we get that 5 gigahertz, see if they can show how long that's maintained. I doubt they actually provide that information, though. That's probably going to be something that we're going to have to wait for reviews. If I had to guess, perhaps Linus, Gamers Nexus, some of these big name locations either already have them or are going to have them here shortly for testing. Wouldn't surprise me if they say, hey, this is coming out tomorrow, and as soon as this is over, embargo gets lifted, and then all of a sudden we start getting the videos from other sites that had access to these in advance for their actual reviews. Of course, I think that would only happen is if their claims for what they're expecting are actually going to be true. So kind of iffy. It may or may not happen if they have a longer delay for when this release. So let's say this isn't getting released for 2 weeks, and then they're shipping it out to try and prevent leaks from happening. So it's possible that they could get that performance boost and still have that delay. Or it's possible that they do that and don't want streamers and other people to have access to this to put out things because they don't want it to make them look bad. They want this to carry as much weight as possible for as long as possible. So we'll look for that type of information here. It should be beginning any moment. It's noon now, and it's still just kind of sitting on the screen. We're going to go ahead and hit refresh here. I may have to readjust the screen for the stream here in a moment, depending upon if I can actually get this to go to full screen or how that full screen is going to sit in my stream. So we'll have that here momentarily. Just says beginning shortly still, though. I'm going to pop over to AMD's website and click their link again, see if that makes a difference. So right here. There we go. Kick that audio down a little bit. So 12 o'clock actually turns into 12:02. And we'll go ahead and maximize that screen for everyone, and I'll get it adjusted over here on my side so it gives you the best overall look of it. It's like we're not going to get any full view otherwise, so I'm going to drop my head over here. Sorry about that. Since they didn't have this go up particularly early, we don't exactly know where all this is going to fall, actually. Looks like it's still going to be better if I drop myself down here, and then I will zoom this in. And I'll keep myself little so everyone can watch this without having my big old noggin in the way of everything. Alright. Maybe I'll make my noggin a little bit bigger. There we go. Alright, down to 30 seconds. Let's see what we have happen here. Okay. This little ball thing kind of irritates me. I don't know, it's got a lot going on. It's drawing your attention everywhere but the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get the show on the road. Forward-looking statements considering advanced micro devices. Ooh. May expects, believes, plans, intends, projects. That doesn't bode well.
We started Zen from scratch, starting with a clean sheet of paper.
Zen turned out to be a grounds-up design, which doesn't come along very often.
In the life of an engineer, you get to build something this significant once, twice, if you're lucky, 3 times in your lifetime. AMD enables the engineers to go off and innovate and to bring to market what it is that they dream about.
I'm extremely pleased to show you for the first time the name of our new CPU.
A lot of hype.
Now it's time for you to see Ryzen in action. We wanted to disrupt the PC market. We wanted to bring innovation, choice, and performance to as many people as possible.
And they have done that.
In high-performance PCs, it was about delivering more performance at every single price point.
The Ryzen Threadripper acknowledges that there are people who want to create and game on the same PC and need the scalability and need the performance to do that. And that's what's really exciting about the Threadripper chip.
Is our commitment
Give
to
me
our
5
customers
gigahertz on a
that we would
Threadripper, and I am
deliver
throwing
the
my
roadmap
window
we
at
set
the
out,
window
and momentum is now
at the
on
screen
our side.
right now.
The anticipation around third-gen
Throwing my money
Ryzen
out the
is
window. That
really
might be
impressive.
good.
Meet the world's first 16-core gaming processor.
Now, in 2019, third-gen Ryzen is it.
What we did in Zen was push well beyond what we thought we could do. It makes me so proud to be able to look back and say that I was part of that.
Our mission with Ryzen has always been clear. It's about making the right bets 3 to 5 years in advance and making sure that they come to fruition. Our goal is to give you the best.
Well, it's certainly making me excited, but that's all past news. Let's see what they have now. See if they can keep me excited about this.
Welcome, everyone. Big welcome to all of you, and thank you all for joining us today. I've been looking forward to this moment all year, and I know many of you have too. It's been a challenging year for everyone as we've navigated the COVID-19 pandemic globally. But one thing we've learned is just how important high-performance computing technologies really are. From work to school to gaming to entertainment, the PC is now the computing platform of choice in 2020. And I'm really excited to show you today what we have been working on for the next-gen PC platforms, and especially for all of you gamers. Now, it's already been an incredible year for gamers. There's so much excitement around the next-gen consoles. We are so proud to power the new Sony PlayStation 5 with a high-performance custom chip featuring our AMD Ryzen CPU and AMD Radeon GPU technology.
But it doesn't have Zen 3
And
in
we
it.
are equally proud that custom AMD processors also power the new Microsoft Xbox Series X and Series S consoles, again, featuring our high-performance Ryzen and Radeon technologies. These consoles are bringing
not
just
pushing
incredible
Zen 3.
technology to gamers all over the
At least
world,
not according
and are
to
really
this
a result
so
of
far.
just deep engineering partnerships over many, many years with both Sony and Microsoft. Now, gaming is at the heart of so much of what we do at AMD. Whether you're talking about PCs or consoles or cloud gaming and mobile. AMD loves gaming, and we like to say gaming begins with AMD. So today, we're going to talk specifically about our next-gen PC gaming platform. So let's talk a little bit about Ryzen. Now, you guys know we brought the first generation of Ryzen to market in 2017. And we actually had one goal. It was to build the best PC desktop processor possible.
4.5 years ago.
Now, we knew we wouldn't get there in one step.
3.5.
But with each generation of Ryzen, it's gotten better. And we focused on how do we deliver more performance? How do we deliver the best features? And how do we
3.5 years
give
ago.
more capabilities to all of you PC enthusiasts so that you can do more than you ever thought with your desktop or in your notebook? And we've made great, great progress. We started with Ryzen in desktops, and then we introduced Ryzen Threadripper in high-end desktops. And now, actually, Ryzen is in many amazing notebook systems with our Ryzen 4000 series. I think it's safe to say that AMD loves the PC, and I think also it's safe to say that PC users love Ryzen. So we really appreciate that. Now look, let's just focus on the desktop for a few minutes. The progress we have made over the last few years has been really amazing. If you look at the market before Ryzen, the desktop PC was on sort of an incremental performance slope for the last many years. Now, over the past 3 years, we've significantly changed that trajectory and really completely reset expectations as we've gone from first-gen Ryzen to second-gen, now to third-gen Ryzen. We were the first to launch a 7-nanometer desktop processor, and today, third-gen Ryzen leads in so many areas. We're the highest in multi-threaded performance. We are the best in terms of power efficiency. And third-gen Ryzen is an absolutely great gaming processor. But as you know, we're really ambitious. So our work with Ryzen is never done. Our engineers have been on this maniacal focus of what can we do more? What can we do better? So today, we're here to talk about our brand new CPU core. You've all been waiting for it. It's all about Zen 3. And with Zen 3, we focused again on bringing the best to the PC market. I'm so proud of what we've accomplished. Zen 3 increases our lead in overall performance. It increases our lead in power efficiency. And also now, it delivers the best single-threaded performance and gaming performance as well. We've made massive changes in the core architecture, and I'm sure all of you want to know what's inside Zen 3. So let me hand it over to AMD CTO Mark Papermaster to give you all the details. Mark?
Well, thank you, Lisa. I couldn't be more excited than to share a little bit more about Zen 3 and our progression to get here. It's been quite a journey. We set a course over 5 years ago to design a family of high-performance x86 CPUs. Our goal, very simply, outright leadership. We set up the team so that development of multiple processor generations could be done in parallel, with designers leapfrogging from one generation to another. This has resulted in consistent delivery to the market as promised. I could not be more proud than to help unveil our third generation of Zen Core debuting in
7
Ryzen
nanometer.
desktops this
So
fall.
not 5 nanometers.
It
many
is
people
a
were thinking.
beast in performance and will deliver absolute leadership in the x86 market. Zen brought us back into high performance with a 52% improvement in instruction per clock in a single generation. It built a strong base for us to build upon as we developed the Zen family. Last year, Zen 2 brought double-digit % increase in instruction per clock and debuted 7 nanometer in chiplet technology. That 7 nanometer efficiency enabled leadership, multi-core performance, and core density. The innovative chiplet implementation allowed us ease of manufacturing with the small 7 nanometer die and scalability to leadership core counts. And now Zen 3. Wow, what a great job by the design team to improve
Come on, show
every
us the
aspect of
numbers.
the CPU, delivering leadership performance in that same 7 nanometer node. Higher frequency, higher instruction per clock, with design improvements across all of the CPU components, and lower latency on top of that. You look at some of the key elements. There's a new layout of our processor that brings all the cores onto a unified 8-core complex. And that accelerates core-to-core communication. That's especially helpful for gaming workloads. That consolidation actually allows every core to directly access the 32 megabytes of L3 cache. And that dramatically accelerates workloads that are latency sensitive, like gaming. And finally, significant changes throughout the Zen 3 architecture, generating a 19% instruction per clock uplift. That's on top of the significant gains that we had just in the mid of last year with Zen 2. Altogether, Zen 3 is our most significant architectural update yet across the Zen family. We made the Zen 3 floating point and integer execution units wider, more flexible, and allows us to deliver more execution capability to the user at a lower latency. We've increased the number of loads and stores that we can do versus Zen 2, helping us feed those wider execution capabilities of Zen 3. We've added more branch prediction bandwidth. It allows Zen 3 to tackle back-to-back predictions much more quickly, reducing the delays. We call it zero bubble. These innovations keep Zen 3 ahead of the industry norm on generational improvements and position Zen 3-based Ryzen to be a clear desktop performance leader. Microprocessor performance engineering never has one single bullet. It takes focused microprocessor engineering. It's a broad set of improvements that are needed to make a great architecture. It takes innovation on all of the key levers. Zen 3 is a total front-to-back redesign. The microarchitecture had laser focus on performance on every element. End-to-end improvements, caching, load store, our execution units, our prefetching, our dispatch, our decode. Zen 2, in fact, had been organized with 2 4-core cache complexes, and it was tightly integrated. That was a very good design, but what we found is that we brought that together into that single unified cache core complex, that we brought that direct access to 32 megabytes of L3 cache rather than the 16 megabytes that we have with Zen 2. That direct access to a cache pool of this size is very significant for gaming. They tend to make frequent use, of course, of the memory subsystem, and in fact, many games have a dominant thread. And that makes especially heavy use of the cache, and that thread now sees effectively twice the L3 cache in Zen 3. So every core can now communicate directly to the cache without traversing across the die, and that reduces latency. And it stays synchronized for applications using AI, audio, physics, and more. You can see that we continue our relentless commitment to energy efficiency with every generation. We're always honing our design methodologies to focus on performance per watt, even as we make the processors faster for gamers. Zen 3 is no different, delivering up to 24% improvement in power efficiency versus the prior generation. That's double-digit performance per watt uplift in the same process node. And that's on top of all the architectural changes that we drove in to drive up the performance. Our commitment to energy efficiency across time has put us in the driver's seat. Today, we're more than 2.8x more efficient than competing high-end desktop processors. And that's only a strengthening of the leadership that we demonstrated during the prior Zen 2 era.
It's quite the boost.
We will not let up going forward. We're focused on execution.
History of fudging
Zen 3 is shipping as promised, and the 5 nanometer Zen 4 on track in design. The AMD team is hitting on all cylinders, and there's no shortage of innovations for the next generation of Zen processors to keep AMD in the forefront and deliver the best compute experience for our customers. Thank you, and let me welcome back Lisa to now show off our Zen 3 and new Ryzen processors.
Show me some Zen 3 FPS.
Thank you, Mark. That was great.
Live. That's
I'm
what I
so
want to see.
proud of what the team has accomplished with Zen 3. We really focused on what is most important for gamers and enthusiasts. And at 19% IPC increase, it's our largest increase generation over generation since we launched the Zen family. So now let's see Zen 3 in action. I'm so proud to show you for the very first time the AMD Ryzen 5000 series for high-performance PCs, the world's first Zen 3 powered CPU. This is the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. 12 cores, 24 threads, and a boost up to 4.8 gigahertz. It's a very special product, the ultimate enthusiast processor. Compared to the 3900 XT, the 5900X has 19% higher IPC, higher clock speeds, and all of the Zen 3 core improvements that Mark talked about, all while remaining at 105 watts. This makes Ryzen 5900X a
12
big
cores,
upgrade from 3rd gen
4.8
Ryzen all
boosts, so not
around,
hitting the 5
but
that we were
especially
hoping
in
for.
gaming. Now let me turn it over to Robert Halleck to show you the 5900X in action.
Thanks, Lisa. Hey everyone, let me give you a sense of just how much faster the 5900X is compared to our current best, the 3900 XT. To do that, we're going to use Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a game I personally love, and a game reviewers often look at to judge CPU performance. We're going to run the built-in benchmark here at 1080p using the high image quality preset on two otherwise identical systems. You can see a whopping 28% increase just by moving from the 39XT to the 5900X in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And as you will soon see, the performance from the 5900X is faster than the competing processors as well. Now, as any enthusiast knows, 28% from a processor change is a massive upgrade. But that's what AMD customers, like me, can look forward to. This truly demonstrates the gaming strength for Zen 3 when you combine the historic IPC uplift, unified cores, and unified cache pools. Now, as we zoom out to look at a wider set of games, you can see that the 28% uplift in Shadow of the Tomb Raider is joined by many titles with significant double-digit performance improvements. The gains are even bigger in titles like CSGO and League of Legends, where the highest possible frame rate is practically the #1 priority to be competitive. Overall, gamers upgrading from the Ryzen 3000 series to the Ryzen 5000
they listed
series
a
can expect
resolution for
an
this.
average performance improvement of 26% at 1080p. Again, this is just a monumental performance
they don't
jump
list,
for an
what
in-socket
resolution
upgrade in
they're
the same
running that at.
motherboard.
Oh, there it is
And a
down
true
there at
testament
1080.
for how good Zen 3 is in gaming. Now, as many know, strong gaming performance relies on strong single-core performance. That's exactly what Zen 3 has. And I want to show you using Cinebench R20 single-thread. There are many ways to assess single-thread performance, but Cinebench is a fast and easy tool that you can run at home. And it's one of the 25 workloads that we used to calculate the 19% improvement for Zen 3's instructions per cycle. As you can see, the 5900X is the first desktop processor to ever break a 600 score. We don't break it by a little, we break it by a lot with a score of 631. We at AMD
That's
heard you
impressive.
loud and clear as you challenged us to continue investing in single-core performance, and the results speak for themselves. The combination of IPC, frequency, cores, and cache give AMD the fastest cores in the desktop market and give you the best possible gaming performance. So let's take that landmark core performance into a head-to-head battle. Across the same set of games you just saw, the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X is a clear winner at 1080p. As I promised you, AMD wins in Shadow of the Tomb Raider by +6, and is joined by many other games popular with reviewers and users like you. League of Legends and CSGO are once again standout victories for the Ryzen 9 5900X. So that was a lot of data very quickly. Let's take a step back. Let's recap. You saw an average uplift of 26% for Ryzen customers upgrading from the
Using a lot
3000
of
series
old
to
games
the
to push
5000
that
series.
26% though.
You just
While
watched
some of them
AMD
are still
deliver the
played
highest
heavily,
single-core performance in the entire
yeah.
desktop PC market. And you just saw AMD clearly offer the best performance of any gaming processor on the market. I will put it plainly. We know that you're going to wait
You
for
didn't
benchmarks.
have Doom in there.
But
Not that I
customers
saw.
who buy processors purely
Doom Eternal
for their
would've been a
gaming
good one to
performance
throw in this to
will
get
absolutely want a Ryzen 9 5900X for the
more
best
recent kind of
possible
game that,
PC
that
gaming
takes up a lot of
experience.
power.
Now let's
for
bring Lisa back up
FPS.
to give you more details on these awesome gaming processors.
Thanks, Robert. That was fantastic. I hope you're all now convinced that the Ryzen 9 5900X is the best gaming processor in the world. Now let's look at the stack.
No, Not convinced
In the
yet.
5000 series, we have a great choice for every gamer or PC enthusiast.
So far,
In
your
addition to the
claims look good,
5900X,
but we'll
we have the
see the truth
5800X,
of that here soon.
an 8-core, 16-thread processor with boost frequencies up to 4.7 gigahertz at 105 watts. And we also have the 5600X, a 6-core, 12-thread CPU with boost
So they did
frequencies
not
up
push
to
up the cores
4.6
in the
gigaherts at
5
65
series.
watts. Now let's talk about
That's a
price
little
and
disappointing.
availability.
I would have liked to see a bump up
The
in that.
6-core
I would have liked to
5600X
see
is
812 and 16.
$299. The 8-core 5800X is $449. And the amazing 5900X, combining the leadership performance and power efficiency of Zen 3 in a 12-core 7nm design, is priced at $549.
It's a good price.
And all of these will be available globally on November 5th. We're really proud of the 5000 series, but you know we're not done. We love our enthusiasts, and there's one more processor in our stack,
Here
which
comes
is the
it.
ultimate processor for gaming and content creation.
$750
For those of
processor,
you
probably.
who want the very best processor in a desktop PC, we have the 16-core Ryzen 9 5950X. The
Yep, there it
5950X is simply an amazing CPU.
Okay, so they did do
16
4.9 on that
cores, 32 threads, and our fastest processor with boost frequencies up to 4.9 gigahertz. The 5950X breaks the Cinebench R20 single-threaded record that Robert set just a few minutes ago with a score of 640. It is truly the best in class in every dimension. Best gaming performance meets best processor for content creation, and all of this still at 105 watts. Now let's take a look at some of the performance. If we look at the generational uplift from the 3950X to the 5950X, we see up to 27% more performance in CAD workloads and 12% more performance in rendering workloads. More impressively, we see up to 29% more gaming performance.
Still good.
And this is really
only
how
one
we bring the
comparison,
best of
but
both
still
worlds
good.
together. The best for gamers and the best for creators. And now, if you put 5950X against the top of the stack from the competition, we see that the 5950X provides up to 59% more creative performance in rendering workloads, double-digit wins in video editing and software compiling, and we also win in lightly threaded CAD workloads as well. We're really proud of the fact that we also win in gaming. There's nothing like the 5950X in the world. One processor that delivers the best power efficiency, our highest clock speeds, the highest single-core performance in the industry, and the highest multi-core performance of any gaming processor. And it's
Rocket
priced
League's
at
got,
$799
its work cut out for it,
and
but
will
it's,
also be available globally on
800.
November 5th. I hope you're now as excited
jump
about
there.
AMD Ryzen 5000 series as I am.
Expected
Zen
200.
3 is
It's
really
250,
amazing, and
I
I'm so happy
believe.
we could show it to
Last
you
gen
today.
it came out at
But you guys
750,
send
so
me
they
a
did
lot
up
of
the
notes and a
price
lot
on
of
that.
tweets, and I know that
Basically
you're
saying
not just
nothing
excited
can
about
compete at this
Ryzen
point.
5000 series,
So we'll have to
but there's
see.
a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and curiosity about our Radeon lineup as well. So the next few weeks are just an amazing time for us. In addition to introducing our Ryzen 5000 series, we're also going to introduce our next-gen Radeon GPU, and I want to give you a small preview of that today.
There we go.
This is the AMD Radeon RX 6000 series, which we now affectionately call Big Navi, thanks to many of you who nicknamed it for us. It is absolutely gorgeous and by far the most powerful gaming GPU we have ever built. We got a lot of requests from our fans on social, and I heard a whole conversation on the Full Nerd last week about wanting to see Zen 3 and Big Navi in action. So today, I'm going to show you a preview of what you can expect from AMD Ryzen 9 5900X and our Radeon 6000 series. We've been doing a tremendous amount of work optimizing gameplay with Ryzen 5000 and Radeon 6000 series. So let me show you today Borderlands 3, which is a very popular AAA title running at 4K resolution on the Ryzen 5900X and our Radeon 6000 series. Just take a look at that performance. Over 60 frames per second at 4K with beautiful image quality. We are super excited with what we've accomplished with Big Navi.
That's all we get.
In addition to Borderlands 3, here's a bit more of a performance preview on Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Gears of War 5 at ultra settings in 4K. And again, what you see is tremendous 4K performance across the board. We still have a few weeks until
have
launch,
to
and the
look
team is
in and see
working really hard
how
on
that really
fine-tuning
compares.
things. But I hope you're as excited as we are about what Ryzen 5000 series and Radeon 6000 series can do together for your next generation PC. So that brings us to the end.
I expect we're
I
gonna
hope
have
you
some,
enjoyed today. It's
some
been so
information
much
available
fun
out on
spending
this
time
pretty
with you.
quickly. So November 5th.
We have a lot
release.
more to show you later this month, so join us again on October 28th, where we'll give you the full story of our AMD Radeon RX 6000 series. And make sure you mark your calendar for November 5th to find Ryzen 5000 series on shelf worldwide. Take care and see you soon.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute that now. I don't think there's anything else coming out of this. They throw around a lot of numbers where it looks good. And the graphics card part was pretty cool to see, but I don't know how that's going to compare to, you know, say a 3080, especially right now, what would be the 10 gig 3080 or even the i7 one. So I'm gonna go ahead and minimize that for now. It's still gonna play, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay. So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna pop that back up and hit pause over here. There we go. So yeah, a lot of numbers thrown up there, and while that does look good overall, 60 at 4K is a good performance line. However, I don't think that's going to compete with the 3080. I'll be impressed to see where all this falls together, because this is also using their current processor. We're going to have to get some comparisons, but this kind of looks like they're competing more at the 3070 range rather than the 3080. But again, we don't have the 3070 information yet. So we'll have to get tests and benchmarks of information available on that. Because right now we're talking 120 on 4K for some games with the 3080 and 3090. Not all. Definitely not all, but in some. And they don't talk about ray tracing in this at all, so we don't know how that's going to perform yet. I don't believe they showed anything in regards to ray tracing with this. So we'll just have to find out where all of this is going to fall. I don't know. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'll look up this information. We'll go in here. I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and look. Let's see what we can find. So right now, if we go into the so we're going to look at the NVIDIA 3080, and I want to see 4K on Far Cry. And what do we have? So from Eurogamer, let's see what they have it listed as. Gears 5 here. That's not what I'm looking for. I want a direct comparison. There's Far Cry 5. So 4K at the RTX 3080 is 111 frames. So this is falling short. This is not meeting that standard. Even the 2080 Ti scored 89 frames per second. Let me get in here and make sure I'm looking at the right game. Because if I'm looking at the wrong Far Cry, that could make a big difference. So we'll slide back in here. Okay. So so they do Borderlands 3, Call of Duty, and Gears. So this is not Far Cry. All right, so I'll have a better information here for you in just a second. I want to keep this frame up here. I may have broken it. There we go. I had the chat. Not interested in that. Okay. So Borderlands 3. They have Gears 5 here. So Gears with 4K 3080 got 80 frames per second. They're boasting 72. And then Call of Duty. Let's see if I've got Call of Duty in here. No, they don't show Call of Duty. So right now, in comparison, the 3080 beat out their setup with their new processor at 4K by a significant amount. Well, not significant, but 8 frames per second. That's a big deal. 10, 8, 10, something like that. I can't see if that's 72 or 73 in this scene. Give me a second, press and play, see if I can get a better angle of this view. There it is, 73. So, it's Hitman, Far Cry, 3080, Far Cry, Hitman. Where'd Gears go? They had a list for Gears. There it is. So 80 frames per second. So 7 frames per second difference. And this is probably max. This is their absolute peak. We don't know what the low is going to be. We don't know stability yet. So those also make a big difference in these types of things. So we'll find out. This just says ultra quality 4K. So there's not really anything in here that really yells at us, hey, we are the best and the best right now for gaming. It's entirely possible that we get a 3080 matched up with this processor, and if this processor really is better than the Intel processors that are out there right now, all of a sudden we could see the 3080 jumping up to 90 frames. So this makes me think that they are competing at a lower scale, that their top of the line is going to slide in under the 3080 and kind of fit between the 3070 and the 3080 overall, if not directly competing with the 3070. Now, what will be interesting, though, is if they come in and price their if they come in and put their graphics card in and price it below the 3070, that's where things get interesting, because then the 3070 is going to be forced to drop its price, and that's where we'll see that 3070 Super or 3070 Ti come in order to slide in there and compete against this at that same price point, and that'll probably cause another shuffle. So if you haven't purchased your card yet, and you can wait if you're not using it for any type of professional use, because right now Nvidia definitely beats everything on graphics card side for professional use if you are going to be using a gaming card for both. Now, given this presentation and some of the other things that have been stated by AMD recently, I wouldn't be surprised if they come in and talk about how their graphics cards are now going to compete on that level, and that would be wonderful. I would love to see that, but I just don't know that that's going to happen. These do have more memory in them than the 3080 does, so that could be a bigger positive for workloads overall if they do open that up, but we're just going to have to wait and see on that. So as of right now, we're just kind of sitting in limbo. We'll figure this out as it goes by, but at the moment, this is where we're sitting, where they have 73 for Gears of War 5, and in comparison, we have the at 4K 3080 for Gears 5 getting 80, just so you can see that information that I had in there that I was looking at. All right, well, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for hanging out. Remember, if you are watching this on Twitch, make sure you click the follow button. If you're over on YouTube, click subscribe, and follow me on Twitter as The Gray Falcon. Until next time, have a good one.